Hello fellow humans and welcome to the Madhouse. I'm Josh and today I'm going to do part 1 of my autumn book haul and a giveaway which I'll do at the very end of the video, so stick around to then to hear the rules and what you have to do to try and win and what it is you would be winning. It has been an unfortunately very productive time for book buying, which sounds like a very bizarre sentence, and it is, I will grant you, because I was supposed to be on a book buying ban, not going to buy any, but I couldn't help myself. I've decided I'm going to show you these books in chronological order of their original publication, so even if it is a print of A Christmas Carol from 2016, it would go in order of when it was initially done in 1843. So, does that make sense to you? No? Well, stuff it. I'm doing it anyway. The first book is a Penguin Little Black classic. This is number 69, Catullus, I Hate and I Love, which is a collection of, well, mostly love poems. Very soppy, mopey, very eloquent love poems about one man's obsession with one woman, and it's actually quite funny at times, but it's really, really clever. And of course, I just love the Little Black classics in general because they're just 80p and they're so bloody lovely. There is also Beowulf, a verse translation. This is a Penguin Classics edition specifically translated by Michael Alexander. Now, if you don't know the story of Beowulf, it's one of the oldest pieces of literature surviving in the world, certainly the oldest English piece that we can absolutely verify and is complete. It's the story of the hero Beowulf who goes to fight the monster Grendel for the Danes. I think it's the Danes, or was it the Geats? No, he's a Geat, he's going to do it for the Danes. Grendel is a monster who kills people. His mother is a demon of some sort, depending on the version of the story, and it involves dragon slaying, adventure, the roles of men and women in society, different sorts of gendered power. Sorry, I'm studying this for English literature, so I have probably a more analytical look at it than I do of most. There is Thomas More's Utopia, and if the name Thomas More rings a bell, it should if you have at all studied British history, in particular Tudor history, because Thomas More was Lord Chancellor. I don't know why I say Chancellor, but never mind. Lord Chancellor to Henry VIII after Cardinal Wolsey from 1529 or 30, one of those, until 1535 when he was executed for, well, I suppose it was treason, but it was specifically for refusing to sign the Act of Succession and, I've forgotten the word, sovereignty, which made Henry VIII head of the Church of England, also got rid of the Catholic Church in England, and also allowed him to, well, marry whoever he wanted. The book itself is excellent. It is a political satire rivaled only by Small Gods by Terry Pratchett, and in fact they are in a very similar theme in some regards, although less about the nature of gods and more about the place of religion and society in this one. Although not just that. It is about Thomas More's idea of a perfect society and whether or not such a thing can exist, because the name Utopia literally means no such place or no place. It is so many jokes in there which are based on an understanding of Latin and Greek, but it's very, very funny and clever if you get an annotated edition. Plus this cover is actually really, really pretty, I like it. And the society it describes is fascinating because even nearly, well, yeah, very nearly, because it was written in about 1516, 17, and in that time, 500 years ago, the society he describes is in some ways more advanced than ours, depending on your perspective. The fact that they have euthanasia as a perfectly ordinary thing. It's not mandatory, but if you are dying and you wish to go with honour and dignity, you can. There is universal healthcare for all. He came up with that idea 500 years ago, even though as a nation now in the UK, we didn't come up with the NHS until 1948. This man was centuries ahead of his time, and it's so very clever and so very, very funny. It's a remarkable book. Everyone should read it at least once, I feel. There is the audiobook of God's Guards by Terry Pratchett, which I have read before in paper, certainly, but I particularly like the audiobooks, even if these ones are abridged because they're read by Tony Robinson. They're just very, very enjoyable. The stories feel like they were made for that express purpose of being read aloud, and it's something I very much enjoy. There is also The Deeper Meaning of Life by Douglas Adams and John Lloyd, which, if you didn't know, is the sequel to The Meaning of Life, also by the same people. They are dictionaries of make-believe words derived or entirely based on the names of places, usually in the British Isles, with some very hilarious consequences. Some of them are just bizarre. Some of them you don't even realise that there aren't words for them, or they are even a thing, but they're actually quite accurate or incredibly annoying, and that's entirely based on your perspective. I mean, there's one here which is Lyminster, which is a homosexual vicar. Well, here there is Hugglescoat, noun, the kind of person who excitedly opens a letter which says, "You may have already won £10,000 on the outside." In other words, a flipping idiot. There is the audiobook of Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson, which, if you didn't know, is a semi-autobiographical novel based on, well, obviously, Jeanette Winterson's life in the north of England in a particularly religious family, and coming to realise that she is a lesbian and the very unfortunate consequences that can have for her. It's a very moving and at times very sweet and ridiculously sad story, and the best part about the audiobook is, at least the one offered on Audible, Winterson narrates it herself, so it's done in the Lancashire accent, one which I love because it's the accent of my grandparents and my mum sometimes when she slips into it, and myself, but I can't do it intentionally except in phrases like "put wood in tall" and "you're a spoony-eyed parrot-faced wazzock." I already showed you my battered copy of Small Gods a few moments ago, but I have a new copy, which is not exactly an ordinary one. It is in fact the graphic novelization, which has such an interesting cartoonish art style that I absolutely adore. It's very, very funny. It's mostly true to the story, but it has taken a few liberties in order to make it more suitable for this format, and I have to say I enjoy it deeply. But if you were to decide to read Small Gods, I'd start with the actual novel before the graphic novel, simply because there are many subtleties missing, but you will love it all the same. I got another audiobook from the works on the recommendation of my friend. It is Starter for 10 by David Nichols, narrated by David Tennant. David Nichols is quite a prolific author. I believe he wrote the book One Day, which was turned into the film of the same name, and there is apparently a film of this, but I didn't know that. I did enjoy One Day though, so I'm looking forward to it. Plus, Fiona's recommendations I think are to be implicitly trusted because she has very good taste in, well, narratives, to be honest. She's mostly into films, but I'll go for her decisions on books too. Let's try it. There is also the audiobook of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, narrated by Stephen Fry. I have the first 3 books in the series as audiobooks now because I just love Stephen Fry's voice. He does it marvellously, and the Prisoner of Azkaban has long been my favourite one in the entire series, perhaps because it still has the almost fairy tale like essence of the first 2, although it has kind of succumbed to the darkness that will become the major theme in the later books, and I like the mixture of the two. Plus, the Dementors themselves are such an excellent concept, and if you read up on them on Pottermore, they're even more fascinating than what you find in the books. There is a non-fiction book here, The Dragon and the Elephant, China, India and the New World Order by David Smith. This is a non-fiction book about the place of China and India within the world economy and in world politics, and how their power is growing and how that will impact the rest of the world. It involves a lot of projections forward, as I believe, and I'm very much looking forward to read this over the Christmas holidays once I've actually got some spare time to read for myself. There is Killing the Dead by Marcus Sedgwick, which is a World Book Day book from 2015. This is one I have no real idea what it was about, but I like Marcus Sedgwick as a writer, and the description on the back is interesting to say the least. Allow me to read it out for you. Follow the dark, dark path into the dark, dark woods, to the dark, dark bridge by the dark, dark water. Linger. Let the ghosts of heaven tell their story. Sounds intriguing to me. It's meant for kids and it's very, very short, so I could fly through this in, well, a moment. It'll be quite appropriate for Halloween, actually, I feel. And last but not least, the book that I'm going to be giving away is Just Juliet by Charlotte Reagan, which I reviewed very, very recently, and you can watch that here. It's a book that I think most of you will enjoy, really. If you are at all interested in LGBT plus romance, very, very sweet couples and realistic relationships, and something I said in my review, a family I love almost as much as the Weasley family, then this book is for you. And if you want to be in for a chance to win this, all you need to do is leave a comment down below giving me a book recommendation based on the books that I have hauled today. I would suggest not doing the Terry Pratchett book for that because I've read all of them, but any other, go for it. It doesn't have to be a book that I haven't read, though if it has, then bonus points for you. Well, no bonus points, I'm not doing points, I'll just randomly select one of them. It will be helpful if you did put your Twitter handle in the message so I could find you and message you far more easier than having to trail through all your social media profiles on your YouTube account to see if you could get anywhere through that. And then I'll contact you, ask for your address and send it off as soon as I'm able. And then you too can enjoy this book. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this almost as much as I enjoyed making it, because it's actually quite fun to just go through your books and think, oh, what did I get? Let's think, what memories are associated with this? And it's fantastic. Never mind, I'm going off subject again. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Don't forget to leave those comments down below, and please like and share it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It'd be quite enjoyable. It's nice to have new people join the family. That sounds a bit weird, but I'm going to stick with it. Until next time then, tatty byes. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do? We swim. Boom.